Good morning and welcome to the first meeting for this municipal year of the Overview and Scrutiny Management Committee. I'm Councillor Julie Stewart-Turner, Chair of the Overview and Scrutiny for Kirklees. We'll just go around the room so the panel members can introduce themselves.
Cathal Burke, Chair of the Children and Young People's Scrutiny Panel and a member of the Management Committee.
I'm Councillor Rob Walker. I'm the lead member for Economy and Neighbourhood Scrutiny Panel.
Penny Bunker, Governance Support.
Lovely. And we are expecting Councillor Liz Mage to join us very shortly. She's darting over from another meeting. We have apologies from Councillor Goltham Asif. Today clashes with Eid celebrations, which is unfortunate. But I did meet with him day before yesterday, though, so to go through all the agenda with him and his work programme, so he's all up to speed. So he hopes to be at future meetings without problem. They're all in his diary. So item 1 of the agenda is minutes of the previous meeting. Are panel members happy with the minutes? Yes. Yeah? Is there any issues you want to pick up on that are in the minutes? We're happy. Okay, we'll get them signed off. They're fine. Do councillors have any interest to declare? No, me neither. And this is a public meeting. And it's nice to have members of the public, a representative from the press joining us. We'd like to involve more people in scrutiny work if we can. Ways of working is the next item on the agenda, item 4, and you've got a paper in your packs, your information packs, which is the updated version of the principles that we agreed previously. So what my expectations is that you will take this to your panels at the beginning of every year, just as a reminder and a refresher as to this is the standards that we expect from everyone working in scrutiny. This is what it's all about. This is the way we want to work. This is the standards we expect you all to adhere to. So if that's all right, so you need to be experts of this. And I did wonder if maybe we should look at some questions just to challenge everybody, make sure they've read it as well. So when they get their agendas. And also in the packs, you've got the role profile for the lead members, which doesn't have to go to your panels. This is just for us for information. And when I was reading it, there was one item I think we need to add, is because it is the lead member's role to maintain the standards expected of everyone involved in scrutiny. Yes, Rob.
I think it actually should go to the panel, because I think they should be aware of what to expect from us. I don't think there's any problem with that, but it's openness, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd agree, because I think that there are a lot of new members on panels, and I think it'd be a good way for them to understand our role, how it works within the whole scrutiny, overview and scrutiny through the management committee, through the panels, and how they work within that.
Right, so no, I'm very happy with that. That's good. So if you just add that extra bullet point on, and then you can go out with your agendas for your next meetings. Is that okay? Anything else you want to pick up on those papers? Are you happy? Rob?
No. Other than to say, I think it's good. Yeah, it obviously reflects the previous discussions that we've had. We just need to uphold the standards, don't we? Stick to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is what the officers of the council have seen this, so that's what they'll be expecting from them too. Okay, lovely. Item 5 is allocation of scrutiny co-optees. Penny's got an updated table, haven't you? Have you got? Has everyone seen it?
Yes, Chair. There's something that's only come in very, very recently, that Sharon Taylor, who's been with us on Health and Adult Social Care Scrutiny Panel, has resigned due to her own personal circumstances.
Right, so we do have now a space to fill for Health and Social Care Panel. We'll check with Councillor Smage when she arrives, but I was proposing that we ask Health Watch to help out in the short term, because we are looking at a new recruitment programme starting in September to get new co-optees, new pool of co-optees for the next municipal year. So we'll see if they can make Health Watch can fill the gap. Economy in neighbourhoods, we have a gap on there as well. We've been Penny's been in touch with the creative economy team, and they have volunteers working with them in Dewsbury, so we can see if we can source somebody there from that pool of volunteers there to work with you for the next year until we get a new pool of co-optees recruited. Does that okay with everyone? We're likely to have a gap on children's because Fatima Shah Khan can't do Mondays, so you're likely to have a gap there. So I don't know if we need to try and get some extra support for you. How do you feel about that? Do you need some extra support?
Yeah, I think if there's an opportunity, then it would be good. Fatima's obviously has a lot to offer and contribute, so that's a shame. But people have different circumstances. But if we could look at filling that, that would be good.
Yeah, no, Fatima's been amazing, lots of knowledge and experience, but unfortunately, and she is our statutory co-optee as well. She fills that statutory function, but she won't be able to do the date set. Penny?
Fatima Shah Khan has not indicated that she wants to come off the panel, so there can be a conversation. We could continue to use her in ad hoc work and that sort of thing. Can I suggest that maybe in September, when schools come back, we do a targeting of governing bodies to look for these statutory co-optees. We can approach the diocese because, in theory, they can also give us co-optees, and we used to have Reverend Richard Burge, but they're not proposing people recently, so I think our best attempts would be to contact the governing bodies in September and see if we can get somebody fairly quickly after that.
Carl?
Yeah, I think we had all of our co-optees have been really, really good and valuable resource and contribute so much. When I think approaching the diocese again would be something worthwhile to do, because we have had a lot of fantastic work and contributions from the previous member that we had.
Yep, so right, we'll fill those places. And then just need to know if you're in agreement with us to start the new recruitment process in in September, so we got time to train people up, allow them to experience panels so that then they can fulfil the role in the new municipal year. Is that something you're all happy with? Yes? Lovely. So that's done. Item 6, re-establishment of the ad hoc scrutiny panel. Carl, is there anything you'd like to say on that?
Yeah, so this is the re-establishment of the elective home education panel, which we started in the last municipal year. We've had a number of meetings today, fact-finding, getting the relevant data and information, which is still ongoing. So now we're in the process of arranging meetings with relevant individuals and parents who will contribute to the work that we're doing. So we'll be organising another meeting very soon, and then we'll be looking at where we've got to and what work needs to take place throughout the year. But it's a very important piece of work which was highlighted as an area of focus from the director. So we're keen to get through that, but I think we'll make progress on it, and I think what we do will be invaluable for helping those people who do decide and those who want to do that, and also helping those who find themselves in a situation where they need extra help and support.
Yeah, I'm very happy to support that. Do you share that?
There is work taking place on this in central government as well, I think, through the Education Select Committee, so it would be interesting to look at the work that they're undertaking. Yeah.
We did have to wait for the results of that as well, and how that will work, because it is an area that is of concern and is being taken seriously. So it'll be interesting to see the outcomes of that and how we can work with policies and see what we can do to help and support.
I think everyone's in agreement. We'll re-establish that ad hoc scrutiny panel and make sure they have all the information and support they need to do the work. Thank you. Next on our agenda is the draft scrutiny work programme, and Penny's just going to bring this around and share that with you. You've got some red notes on it because that was just me trying to help put some focus on it. What I'm hoping you'll be able to achieve with your panels very quickly in this municipal year is that once you've decided on the topics you want to look at, is actually agreeing the focus. So we've got some big strategic headings, which was lovely, and we've done a lot of strategic work on a large scale, but it would be nice to break that down, put a little bit more detail around the focus, that what it is you'd like to look at. Because as soon as you've done that, we can share it with the new head of intelligence, and he will be able to look at getting additional information for you to help triangulate all the data and the different sources of information that you provided with. He's there to support us this year to give you something a bit different. It's important in the work you do that you don't have just one source of information, that you're able to triangulate that and challenge the information that you give them. So there you go. So if you want to start with, should we start with your panel, Rob? Do you want to...
Some of this is finishing off some of the things from last year. The housing allocations policy. We did have a very lengthy meeting last year with both cabinet members, senior officers and members of the panel. I think to some extent it's going to be reporting back on what was discussed there and discussing that within the panel meeting. We've then got other issues to look at. So there's the issue of town centre strategies for Huddersfield and Dewsbury, waste. With waste in particular, it's actually narrowing down which aspects of the waste agenda we're going to focus on, because it is so massive. We could spend all year looking at this. Again, we've started that, and I want to do some more work on that before the initial meeting.
Can I help on that point? Just on that point, we do know that they've spent the last couple of years, the senior officers spent the last 2 years looking at different ways of managing waste, with the contract coming to an end in the next 7 years with CETA. So it's looking at whether we establish it is enough ways of doing it. So there should be 2 years worth of data and a big report that you might want to look at that. Yeah.
Yes, with that, I did begin to look at it with the policy committee going back 2 years ago, but we had some initial discussions around it that ran out of time, so it will be quite interesting to return to that. Yeah. Following on to the other areas, the next two are actually very closely interlinked, which is looking at the new economic strategy, which is being refreshed and should be coming out in the autumn, and the skills strategy as well, because obviously the skills strategy is about developing the workforce that is necessary to deliver that economic strategy and to benefit from the potential of the new economic strategy. So there's some quite interesting work going ahead there. Needs quite a bit of thinking about which areas we're particularly going to concentrate on and how we're going to do that. But I would like to focus on that this year as an absolute top priority. The taxi policy, I think that's come in. That's come in, I think, from senior officers. We haven't yet discussed that in any great detail, but we will, no doubt, will do over the next few weeks.
And can I just say on that taxi policy, I think they were looking at some help to shape things. It's very early stages of thinking things through, and they were looking for member input into helping to shape the future direction. So it's very, very early stages, very pre-scrutiny work, that one.
On the second page, we've got air quality, which has been something of great interest to me for a number of years. We have had some discussions around that with cabinet members and officers in the transport area. Again, we need to look at this. Street lighting is a new one that has come in, I think. I think that's perhaps been prompted either by senior officers or by cabinet members. And the final one is the council's approach to food banks. There is a lot of interest, I think, amongst councillors in terms of what's happening with food banks and looking at alternatives as well in terms of dealing with the issue of food poverty. So some interesting work there. The only one thing I would say in general is that there are an awful lot of things on the agenda here, and I do feel that it's better to do a few things well and thoroughly rather than just cast the net too widely. So I think one of the key things that we need to do at the first meeting is to decide which of these are going to be our priorities.
No, that's right. So when you sit down with your panel members, agree which the main areas of focus for the year. Yeah, prioritising is very important. Look at what's most. Yeah, leave it with. If you go through it all, and once you prioritise your work programme, then if you put some detail underneath the different areas of focus, then we can get the intelligence officers to start pulling some stuff together for you. That'd be great. Liz, nice to you. We knew you were going to be late. So no. We were just got on the draft work programme, so it's just go through if there's anything we can share with each other on the draft work programme, just talk it through, and then obviously it's for the panels to decide to do the prioritising at the first meeting. But if while you catch your breath, we just let Carl take us through and have a think about his work programme.
Thank you. We held our first panel meeting this week, I think it was, which was good to get started and get members involved straight away. And we had a briefing with the assistant director as well before that, just to go through the work programme, to look at the priorities for the coming year, to look at areas that we need to carry on with and other areas which may not need as much focus this year. We've got the homeschool transport policy. So we've started to look at that. There was a school transport came before Cabinet in January as part of the report to members related to proposals for changes to support and transport for disabled children, adults and also older people. Part of the progress, a working group has been set up to look at the requirements of creating travel assistance unit. Separate policies for homeschool transport are being undertaken. Benchmarking against other local authorities is being carried out to compare models and working practices. And the working group is liaising with existing school transport teams. They're carrying out a pilot which will look at around 20% of applications for special educational needs school transport for September. And they're also looking at mainstream schools, alternatives to providing children with a bus pass are being investigated as well. So we're following the progress of the work that's being done, and that will remain on there for us to continue with the focus. The sufficiency strategy, that was an item at our panel meeting early in the week. And we're looking, we've had other meetings in the past as well, looking at it as part of the improvement plan. Also looking at increasing places and placements locally as well. So there's a lot of work taking place with that one. It's a draft strategy and action plan which will contribute towards the development of this efficiency strategy. Edge of care provision, I've noted your comments. What's in place, preventing children entering care system. We've looked, that will be remaining on the work programme, Edge of care, but we're looking at how we can put that with some other items to group them together. So we're just working with the Assistant Director on how we will do that, and also looking at the early help offer. And then the other item you have on there is a follow-up on recommendations and looking at ticking them off, which we will do. The other areas we continue to look at is the improvement journey. Elective home education is the group that we work in. School transport I mentioned. We're looking at CSE and safeguarding, and we're liaising there with Councillor Kendrick, and how we'll work that. Kirklees safeguarding is the annual report, which we'll look at and see if there's something else that we can contribute to that. Also, Children and Young People's Plan. We've had visits last municipal year to children's homes, so we're looking at having more visits this year and make it more worthwhile where we can meet staff as well. So we will have a visit to the duty and advice. Looking at front door policy will probably tie in with that, where an opportunity will be given to us to meet members of staff there, and also look at staff engagement visits.
You've also got quite a bit on your agenda. So if once you've agreed the areas of focus, then the same applies. We're there to get some intelligence support to look at different sources of information for you. Liz, before we go on, just to talk, to let you talk through the work programme, what's in the pipelines for you. We have a scrutiny. One of your co-optees has had to resign through personal reasons. Sharon Taylor, yeah. So we're just looking at how we fill that gap. I was going to recommend we approach Health Watch, if you're in agreement with that, to see if they can help fill that gap in the short term, because we must have a new recruitment programme starting in September to get new co-optees for the next new municipal year. So does that work for you?
Can I just clarify that is asking Health Watch if they know of anybody who might be interested in, not Health Watch itself, because I was going to say Health Watch come to meetings and input from their perspective as part of the evidence as well. So yes, if they could be approached and asked if they know of anybody who could fill that the scrutiny place, that would be okay. Yeah.
And the other thing is, I just wanted to publicly congratulate you for the great work you've done so far on the Joint Health Scrutiny, and that note the report from the Independent Reconfiguration Panel and how they agreed with a lot of the comments that your panel made. So just well done, and I know it's still work in progress and a lot to do, but it's a good step forward. Yeah. So. And would you like to just go through your work programme with us?
Thank you. So our work programme obviously is in draft at this moment in time. Our panel meeting is next Tuesday, when our panel will discuss it in more detail. The finances are also of the Kirklees Health and Adult Care Economy are on the agenda as well next week. So as far as the health and wellbeing plan and the STP work is concerned, that is looking at things on a Kirklees perspective. We also need to be aware of what is happening at the West Yorkshire Scrutiny Committee as well, as far as the West Yorkshire themes are concerned. And the Kirklees panel need to keep abreast of that, but also need to look at the Kirklees themes that are part of that plan. Integration of health and adult social care, obviously that's going to be an ongoing discussion for quite some time as to how that can be achieved. CQC inspections, we look at where providers have had CQC inspections. That's just a standard item on our work plan. And the integrated wellness model, that's been before to scrutiny, and so that's receiving an update. The CQC do come once a year to the scrutiny panel to give us an annual presentation on the state of care across Kirklees, and we would want to continue with that discussion with them. Suicide prevention and podiatry services, again, those are continuing. Mental health services transformation programme, that will be us looking at where they are with that. And the care closer to home, again, an ongoing discussion. Wheelchair services, that came previously, and so that will be a follow-up. Now, the adult care offer consultation, the consultation papers came to the scrutiny panel for us to look at. We put quite a few comments in on those consultation papers, and therefore that will be the results of the analysis of that consultation that will come back to scrutiny. Obviously, there's lead member briefings, both in social care and in health, so I have briefings with health partners as well as in the council. We also have to leave room in the programme if there are any areas which health partners identify as coming up during the year that scrutiny may wish to discuss. And so sometimes our work programme can be quite fluid in what we may suddenly have to discuss, but we try and plan it as much as possible. Okay, thank you.
No, I do realise it's a very challenging area and an emotive area, so it's good that you have that flexibility. I've met with Councillor Asif already to go through his programme. His is a lot of technical stuff within his work programme, and we know how complicated public sector finance is. It's a minefield. So he's organised some training for the first meeting of this municipal year, which is excellent, and has got some great support from the finance team to go through all the finance and arrange formal training for everybody. He's opening that up to all members, so if anybody wants to go along, I think you've had an email already, and then feel free. It's always good to have a refresher because it's such a challenging area. And they've slotted in an additional meeting because they've got access to services on there, and we now have the library review research and on the research paper on the back of the recent consultation to go through, so they're including that in their work programme. They've also got on there looking at the transformation of procurement, the commercialisation, corporate plan, people strategy, and we've also added in a land lettings policy because the council has a corporate lettings policy, but that doesn't support the community strategy at the moment, so looking at how that can be adapted to support community groups. So that's their work programme. On the management committee itself, you've got a long list. We've got the recruitment process for new voluntary co-optees already. The statutory scrutiny of crime and disorder, I've put domestic violence on that list as one of the priority areas that I'd like to look at this year. We have seen growing numbers of domestic violence across Kirklees, so we want to get a better understanding of the services provided to prevent domestic violence as well as support victims. And we know that from the past work on that reported domestic violence is only the tip of the iceberg, so it's understanding, we need to get a deeper understanding of what all this means. We've been asked to look at the safety camera partnership. This is a regional partnership, so I'm already waiting for some more information about who's involved in that and who makes decisions on that, so get a better understanding of that. Statutory scrutiny of flood risk management. We know that the 5-year action plan is coming to its end, so it's a refresh of that and to create a new 5-year action plan, so we can have some early input into how that's shaped. This panel this committee will keep an overview of the transformation programme as a whole. Corporate, we're looking at a couple of specific areas, but as transformation of the local authority affects everybody, it's for this committee to maintain the overview of all of that. Inclusion and diversity is, again, another one that's at the early stages of sort of shaping the next stage of that programme, so we'll have some early input into that. Just to maintain sort of a watch and brief really on the combined authority and what's happening there, waiting to see about, not much is happening until we get a devolution deal, so it's just waiting to see how that's developing. Performance management, again, is a cross-cutting thing that we need to maintain an overview on and make sure that it's developing, because I think as a council's reshaping the way we do performance management and monitoring it to be reshaped as well. And then just working together, sharing information about us, so how we can support each other as a team. Then the last item is about comms, which is also on the, yes.
My apologies if this has already been discussed, but there's some requests for scrutiny work programme here. I noticed the air quality is in the list for one of the scrutiny panels already. I do think it's really important that we look at the issues around that. There's been some air quality areas that have been declared, but there seems to be a delay in actually discussing action plans, etc. And so it does concern me that the declaration was quite some time ago and we still haven't had discussions on that. But also the ESA Assessment Centre, that request for scrutiny work, and I wondered where that was going to sit. Thank you.
Rob will fill you in the first one. I'll give you an update on the next.
With air quality, I think there is a lot of public interest in that within Kirklees, and there's also some interesting work going ahead on a regional level as well. So I think both things really are things that we need to take account of when we're looking at the development of our policy and our strategies to deal with this. And I agree with Liz, it is a very important issue.
Yeah, it is on your draft work programme discussed with your panel, isn't it? On the ESA, we've asked for the Benefits Service to give us some more detailed information. Can we understand the impact that the closure is going to have on our citizens? So we're still waiting for that feedback from them. But I'll let you know, I'll keep you posted when we get some more information. And I'm glad you raised it, because we do have another one, which is, I meant to raise with Councillor Burke. One of our elected members has asked us to do more work around SEN support, but I think that's something you've already got on your work programme. So I'll share this email with you, and we might have to sort of have a meeting with this member so they can understand the scope of work you're already involved in, and see if there's any gaps that he thinks that we're missing. So we need to have a meeting with him and just catch up on that. Okay. And that's anything else on the work programme? Yes?
With the special education needs, as part of the school transport, special education needs is an item on its own as well. So if that'll probably feed into there, or if we can understand more detail.
Right, so anything else we'll pick up on the work programmes, the draft programme? Are we happy with that? We've all got quite a long list, including this management committee. So it should be a good year. Nice. Yeah.
It's the intention then that once the work programmes are finalised, that they come back here again for that final sign-off.
Yeah, because it's this panel that has the overall responsibility for it all. So, yeah, I'm sure they will come back here. But also, it's up to this panel. We can look at work, making sure you get all the proper support you need to make sure it's really effective, so we can start demonstrating the positive benefits that we can have. The other item we've got on the work programme and our agenda for today is Scrutiny Communications. So I'm going to let Penny give you an update on all the really great work she's been doing. Is that right, Penny? Yeah.
Okay, I can report that we are making steady progress now in terms of communications. So the Scrutiny Twitter account is up and running, and you probably need to liaise with your support officers in terms of if there's any messages you want to get out after meetings or before meetings, and then we can get those tweeted. I've also had a meeting with the web team to discuss how we get more introductory information on the website about scrutiny, and we've come up with a way forward that hopefully we'll get a mock-up fairly shortly in terms of what that will look like, which Councillor Stuart Turner intends to meet with the officer as well to see if that is fit for purpose in terms of what the committee wants. So what we would put on there is current work programmes, current bulletins, general information about scrutiny, what it is and how we do it in Kirklees. And what's being proposed will enable the team itself to be able to maintain that rather than that being done corporately, which I think will be a positive in our ability to keep things up to date.
The other items are the bulletins that we send out 3 times a year. People have asked for more detail on those, so I'm proposing that we stick to a similar format, so it's quick, easy to look at, but then have some additional links to that so people can look at more detailed information if they want to, if they're interested in a different item, particular item. So if you have agreement with that. And then council meetings, I'm hoping that we can get more feedback to council. I know that they would, particularly the mental health one, they'd ask for some follow-up. That'd be good. I'm hoping we can share our work programmes at the next council meeting, tell them what we're doing, but involving members in the work wider and not just informing them, but maybe they might want to have some input. So I'm hoping we can do that over this next year. So does that sound all okay to you? Yeah? Okay. Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's anything particular you want to book a session for on the council meeting in July. Is there anything around the Calderdale and Huddersfield JOSC that it's worth reporting to council at that point? I'm just wondering if there's any, because you talked about wanting to have this dialogue at council, so I was just wanting the committee to plan a little bit on that.
Yeah, and Penny's right, we're going to have comms on our agendas for every meeting so we can think about it. And for July, I think we'll have a lot of information to share about the work we're planning to do, which would be really nice. But there is possibly some of the feedback from some of the health stuff would be really good. Do you think that's... Yeah? And Rob, were you thinking?
I'm just wondering, I'm just wondering if we'll have enough time to discuss and agree the work programmes in time to get it out in the agendas. We're not going to do that. So I suppose we'll have to verbally report, won't we, on the things that we're prioritising. Yeah. Just thinking of the time scale. It's quite tight, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's reporting on the things that you know are highly likely to be in your confirmed programme. That's what I would suggest.
Maybe concentrate on a couple of areas, maybe in more depth on the work programme as to how we're going to tackle something that might be, and then mention some others in perhaps more general terms. Maybe that would be a way forward as well. Yeah.
No, that's fine. I agree with that. I think it's a good way at the start of the year to be able to go through the work programme. There may be members who are interested in particular areas that could contribute then as well. So, positive.
Rob?
Yes, sort of general point, tying those two things together. I think if we can improve our communications and use Twitter and things like that, but also share things more with councillors, it would be good to get more people coming along, both elected members and members of the public, so that they can take part in what are public meetings. Yeah, I think it will improve the quality and the breadth of the debate.
Good. Okay. Everyone's happy and in agreement. The only other thing on our agenda for today, unless I've forgotten something, if any can tell me I've forgotten something, is the dates for the meetings. You've all had at least 2 electronic appointments sent through, because I've had 2. Good. All right, so we've definitely booked in. So yeah.
It's doing well, isn't it?
Everyone's very keen. It's nice. So yes, we've got the dates for the and no one's raised any concerns with those dates so far. No. Penny.
Just one last thing, and that's leader member reports. So clearly we're going to get work programmes back at some point. So maybe the September meeting is the first lead member report meeting.
We've got a meeting before then.
We have, and clearly work programmes will be coming back.
Yes.
Which feels like that will be the input then.
Yeah, I'm right. You're right. We'll have the work programmes for July, lead member updates in September. September, January and April then. September, January and April? Lead members. And just to, did you note that the January, if you can get that diary and the date, it'd be nice to come and have a chat with the co-optees in January. If you can get that diary, that in your diaries now, that'd be great, because they do a great job for us, the co-optees. And we'd probably be losing a couple of them in the new municipal year. So, thank you all for your time. That's it. And I hope it